My wife tried to manipulate me with a fake affair to spark jealousy, but her mind games backfired when I found truth, love, and revenge with her sister. She was on the phone in our bedroom. Door closed, voice hushed but animated. Nothing unusual there. She talks to her friends constantly, but something about her tone made me pause at the bottom of the stairs. No, you are right. He has been taking me for granted lately. He just expects me to be here whenever he wants. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and stayed quiet, listening. The coworker thing is perfect. He is cute enough, and he has already been flirty at happy hours. If the first start posting pictures with him, going out more, maybe my husband will finally realize what he could lose. My hand tightened around the bottle. This was interesting, but what if he does not care? She continued. What if he just lets me go? Trust me, came a voice I recognized as her friend from college. Men are simple. Make them jealous and they will fight for you. He will come crawling back, begging, doing everything you want. My sister did this with her boyfriend, and now he worships the ground she walks on. I set the beer down quietly and headed back outside, sitting in my car for 20 minutes before walking back in like nothing happened. She was in the kitchen making dinner, humming like she had not just been plotting to manipulate me. How was your day? She asked, kissing my cheek. Productive, I said, studying her face. How about yours? Oh, same old stuff. Thinking about going out with the girls Friday, though. I have not done that in a while. There it was. Phase 1 of whatever little scheme she had cooking. Over the next few days, I watched the show unfold. Suddenly, she was dressing differently for work. More makeup, tighter clothes, spending extra time on her hair. Her phone became surgically attached to her hand, buzzing constantly with notifications she would hide from me. Friday night came and she left for her girls' night wearing a dress I bought her for our anniversary. She came home at midnight slightly drunk and overly affectionate, talking about how much fun she had dancing and how some guy bought her and her friends drinks all night. Just being friendly, she said, watching my reaction carefully. Sounds like fun, I replied, not giving her the jealous response she was fishing for. The weekend was when things got really obvious. Saturday morning, she was on her phone constantly giggling at messages. By Sunday, she was suggesting we take a break from our usual Netflix routine because she wanted to go to some coworkers' barbecue. You do not know anyone there, she said. It might be boring for you. Maybe I should just go solo. Sure, I said. I have plenty to catch up on anyway. She looked almost disappointed that I did not insist on coming along, but I had my own plans forming. See, while she was busy orchestrating her little drama, I had been doing some thinking and remembering her sister had always been different from her. Where my wife was dramatic and attention-seeking, her sister was genuinely funny, intelligent, ambitious. We had always gotten along well at family gatherings, sharing jokes, and having actual conversations while my wife was busy being the center of attention. Monday rolled around and my wife started her new routine, late nights at work events. Suspicious group photos where she was always standing suspiciously close to the same guy. Stories about spontaneous happy hours that seemed to happen every other day. The guy was not bad looking, I will give him that. But watching my wife practically throw herself at him through social media was embarrassing. Comments on his posts that were clearly meant for me to see. Pictures of them at office parties where she was leaning into him like they were more than colleagues. 3 weeks into her little performance, I decided it was time to make my own move. Her sister worked downtown, not far from my office. I had run into her at the coffee shop near her building a few times over the years. Casual encounters, friendly small talk, nothing more. But I remembered she mentioned she grabbed lunch at the sandwich place on 5th Street most Tuesdays. Tuesday came around and I found myself walking into that same sandwich shop at 12:30. She was there, sitting alone at a corner table, reading something on her tablet while eating a turkey club. Well, this is a nice surprise, I said, approaching her table. She looked up and smiled. A genuine smile, not the calculated one I had been getting at home lately. Hey there, what brings you to this part of town? Client meeting ran over, I said, which was true enough. Mind if I join you? Eating alone gets old. Please, she gestured to the empty chair. How is work treating you? We talked for 45 minutes about work, about books, about a documentary she had watched the night before. Real conversation, no games, no hidden agendas, no testing or manipulation. Just 2 adults having lunch and actually enjoying each other's company. When I got home that evening, my wife was already dressed up for another work thing. Do not wait up, she said, checking herself in the hallway mirror. The team is going out after the client presentation. It might be a late one. Have fun, I said, already knowing I would see the pictures on her Instagram by midnight. But for the first time in weeks, I was not bothered by her little show because I just remembered what actual adult conversation felt like. And it was not with the woman trying so hard to make me jealous that she had forgotten how to be genuine with her own husband. While my wife was busy playing amateur hour with her office romance, I was learning what I'd been missing. The Tuesday lunch with her sister turned into a Thursday coffee meeting the following week. Nothing planned, nothing forced. She texted me about a book recommendation. I mentioned I would be in her area again, and she suggested we grab coffee to discuss it. "Your wife mentioned you have been working late a lot lately," she said, stirring sugar into her latte. "Has she?" I kept my tone neutral. "That is interesting, considering I have been home by 6 o'clock every night this month." She raised an eyebrow but did not push. Smart woman. Instead, she changed the subject to the book we had been discussing. 20 minutes flew by like 5. My wife's performance, meanwhile, was becoming increasingly desperate. The Instagram posts were now daily affairs, group shots where she was practically sitting in this guy's lap, stories about spontaneous dinner invitations that just happened to include him, photos of expensive cocktails with captions like, "When your coworker insists on spoiling you." The funny part was watching her come home after these dates and overcompensate with affection toward me, like she was trying to have her cake and eat it too. Make me jealous, but also keep me hooked in case her backup plan fell through. "You seem different lately," she said one night, curled up against me on the couch, more relaxed. "Do I?" "Yeah, like you are not stressed about work anymore." "It is nice." What was nice was having something to look forward to besides coming home to amateur dramatics and stage jealousy. Her sister and I had started texting regularly. Nothing inappropriate, just genuine conversations about everything from work frustrations to weekend plans. She was sharp, funny, and refreshingly honest. When she was annoyed about something, she said so directly instead of playing games and expecting me to figure it out. "My sister has been acting weird lately," she mentioned during our third coffee meeting. "All secretive and giggly about some guy at work." "She has never been good at subtlety," I said, taking a sip of my espresso. "Maybe she is just excited about something new. Maybe, though between you and me, I have always thought she thrives on drama. Even when we were kids, she would create situations just to see how people would react. Bingo, someone who actually understood my wife's personality." The next week brought my wife's masterpiece performance. She came home Friday evening with a story about how her coworker had asked her to be his +1 to his friend's wedding that weekend. "I said yes before I thought about it," she said, watching my face carefully. "I mean, we are just friends, but it would be rude to back out now, right?" "Sure," I said, not looking up from my laptop. "Sounds like fun." She stood there for a full 30 seconds, clearly expecting me to object, to demand she not go, to finally show some jealousy. When I did not, she tried a different approach. "You do not mind, should I? Most husbands would not want their wives going to weddings with other men. Most wives would not need to ask permission to go to work events with colleagues," I replied calmly. "Besides, you are capable of making your own decisions." The frustration on her face was almost comical. This was not going according to whatever script her friends had given her. She went to the wedding, posted approximately 15 photos throughout the day, each one carefully crafted to look like she was having the time of her life with her date. Dancing photos, dinner photos, champagne toasts, the full production. While she was busy with her photo shoot, I was having dinner with her sister. Nothing planned. She texted about being bored on a Saturday night. I mentioned I was free, since my wife was at a work thing. "Want to grab some food and see that new movie you mentioned?" We went to a small Italian place downtown, then caught the late showing of some comedy she had been wanting to see. She laughed at all the right parts, made smart observations during the quiet moments, and did not check her phone once during dinner. "This was fun," she said as I walked her to her car afterward. "I cannot remember the last time I had such good company for a Saturday night." "Neither can I," said, realizing how true that was. Sunday morning brought my wife home with a hangover and a phone full of pictures to show me. She scrolled through them eagerly, providing commentary like a tour guide. "Look how nice he looks in his suit." And this was during the father-daughter dance. "So sweet." "Oh, and here is us during the slow songs. Looks like you had a great time." I said I did. "He is really, I do not know. Thoughtful, I guess. Attentive, unlike your husband," was the unspoken message. I was supposed to be getting jealous, asking questions, demanding reassurance. Instead, I poured myself coffee and asked if she wanted eggs for breakfast. The following Tuesday, her sister texted me about lunch again. Same place. "Actually, there is a new sushi place that opened near my office. Do you want to try it?" Adventurous. I like it. We spent 2 hours at that sushi place. She told me about her promotion at work. I told her about the client project I was excited about. She asked thoughtful questions about my interests, shared stories about her travels, made me laugh with impressions of her difficult boss. It occurred to me during dessert that this was the first time in months I had felt genuinely engaged in conversation. No hidden meanings to decode, no tests to pass, no performances to validate, just two people enjoying each other's company. "Your wife is lucky," she said as we waited for the check. "You are actually interesting to talk to. Most guys I know just want to talk about sports or complain about work. Most people do not know how to have real conversations anymore." I replied, "Everyone is too busy playing games." She gave me a curious look, but did not ask what I meant. That night, my wife came home with another story about her coworker. This time, he had surprised her with flowers for no reason, just because he appreciated her help on a project. "Was not that sweet?" she asked, arranging the roses in a vase. "Very thoughtful," I agreed. She was getting frustrated with my lack of reaction. I could tell her little scheme was not working the way her friends promised it would. I was not fighting for her attention, begging her to stop seeing him, or proving my love through desperate gestures. Instead, I was discovering that there were women out there who did not need to manufacture drama to feel valued. Women who could have genuine conversations without ulterior motives. Women who appreciated straightforward communication instead of expecting me to read their minds and react to their tests. The irony was delicious. While my wife was trying to make me appreciate her more, she was actually helping me realize exactly what I had been settling for. My wife decided to turn up the heat. Unfortunately for her, I was already cooking with gas. Week 4 of her little performance brought the big guns. She started leaving her phone face up on the counter while she showered, making sure I could see the constant stream of texts from her coworker. Messages timed perfectly for when I would be grabbing my morning coffee or getting home from work. "Cannot wait to see you tonight. You looked amazing yesterday. Thinking about you. Amateur hour. If you are going to stage a jealousy play, at least make it believable." The messages read like she had Googled flirty texts and copy-pasted the first results. But the real masterpiece came on Thursday evening. I was in my home office when I heard her voice from the living room, deliberately loud enough for me to overhear. "No, I cannot tonight. My husband is home." Pause. I know. I wish things were different too. Another pause. "Maybe this weekend when he goes to his brother's place." I was not going to my brother's place this weekend. We had not made any such plans. But apparently, in her fantasy scenario, I was conveniently absent so she could escalate her fake affair. Friday night brought the grand finale. She came home from work flustered, her hair slightly messed up, lipstick smudged just enough to look suspicious. "Sorry I'm late," she said breathlessly. "I got caught up in a meeting that ran long." She disappeared into the bathroom for 20 minutes, emerged in different clothes, and spent the rest of the evening being overly sweet and attentive. Classic guilty behavior, performed like a community theater production. While she was running her one-woman show, my relationship with her sister was becoming something neither of us had expected. It started innocently enough. Our lunch meetings had become twice-weekly occurrences. Coffee dates turned into dinner conversations. She would text me funny observations about her day. I would share stories about difficult clients. Real communication between two adults who actually enjoyed each other's company. "You know," she said over dinner Tuesday evening, "I have not laughed this much in months. You are good company." "So are you," I replied, meaning it completely. She was everything her sister was not. Direct instead of manipulative, genuine instead of performative, intelligent conversation instead of manufactured drama. When she disagreed with something I said, she told me straight up instead of pouting and expecting me to figure out what was wrong. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said, twirling pasta around her fork. "Shoot, are you and my sister okay? You seem, I do not know, different lately, more yourself, if that makes sense." I considered my answer carefully. "Let us just say I am remembering what it feels like to have honest conversations again." She nodded like she understood exactly what I meant. That weekend, while my wife was busy with another work event that somehow required a cocktail dress and professional photography, I found myself at her sister's apartment, helping her assemble a bookshelf she had bought. "I am terrible at this stuff," she laughed, holding a piece upside down while I sorted through the screws. "It is just following directions," I said. Though whoever wrote these instructions clearly did not speak English as their first language, we worked together for 2 hours, talking about everything and nothing. She made us sandwiches for lunch. We debated the best way to organize her book collection. She showed me photos from a hiking trip she had taken the previous month. It was domestic and comfortable and completely natural. No games, no tests, no performance. Just two people enjoying an afternoon together. "Thanks for this," she said, as I packed up the tools. "I probably would have given up and hired someone. Any time, I said, and realized I meant it. That evening, my wife came home with her most elaborate story yet. Her coworker had supposedly confessed his feelings for her during their work event, told her he was falling in love with her, asked her to consider leaving me. I did not know what to say, she said, sitting on the edge of our bed while I folded laundry. I mean, I care about him, but I am married. She paused dramatically, clearly expecting me to react, to get angry, to demand she quit her job, to fight for our marriage. That is a difficult situation, I said calmly. That is it. That is all you have to say. What would you like me to say? I do not know. Something. Anything. Do not you care that another man is in love with your wife? I stopped folding and looked at her directly. Do you want me to be jealous? I want you to care. I do care. I care that you think so little of me that you would make up this elaborate fiction instead of just talking to me about whatever is bothering you. Her face went pale. What are you talking about? The phone calls you wanted me to overhear. The convenient text messages left open on the counter. The stories that get more dramatic every week. The fact that you have been planning this whole thing for over a month. She opened and closed her mouth like a fish out of water. I am not stupid, I continued, and I am not going to play along with whatever game this is supposed to be. It is not a game, she said weakly. Really? So, you are actually having an affair with your coworker? She could not answer that because we both knew the truth. I thought so, I said, returning to the laundry. When you decide you want to have an honest conversation about what is actually wrong in our marriage, let me know. Until then, I am not participating in amateur hour. She left the room without another word. Sunday morning, I woke up to find her gone. A note on the kitchen counter said she was spending the day with friends, needed space to think. Perfect, because I had already made plans to take her sister to the art museum. She mentioned wanting to visit. We spent 4 hours wandering through galleries, discussing paintings, sharing perspectives on different pieces. She had insights I never would have considered, made observations that changed how I saw entire sections of the collection. This is exactly what I needed today, she said as we sat in the museum cafe afterward. Sometimes you do not realize how much you miss real conversation until you have it again. I know exactly what you mean, I said. She looked at me with an expression I could not quite read. Can I tell you something? Of course. I have been looking forward to our meetings all week. Is that weird? Not weird at all, I said. I have too. The silence that followed was not uncomfortable. It was charged with possibility. We should probably talk about what this is, she said finally. We probably should, I agreed. But neither of us did. Not yet. Because we both knew that conversation was going to change everything. And once we had it, there would be no going back. Instead, we finished our coffee and made plans for Tuesday lunch like we have been doing for weeks. The difference was now we both knew it was more than just lunch. When I got home that evening, my wife was waiting in the living room, phone in hand, looking like she had been crying. We need to talk, she said. Finally ready for that honest conversation? I asked, but before she could answer, her sister texted me. Had the best day. Thank you for being exactly what I needed. My wife saw the message notification light up my phone screen, saw her sister's name, and that is when everything changed. The monthly family dinner at her parents' house had always been a polite but predictable affair. This month, I decided to make it memorable. My wife spent the entire week after seeing her sister's text in damage control mode. Suddenly, her coworker was just a friend and she was confused about her feelings, wanted to work on our marriage. The fake affair disappeared overnight, replaced by desperate attempts at reconnection. I have been thinking, she said, Tuesday morning over breakfast. Maybe we should take that vacation we talked about, just the two of us, reconnect. Which vacation was that? I asked, knowing we had never discussed any such thing. You know, the one to that place you mentioned. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Her sister and I had our conversation that same Tuesday over lunch, the one we had been avoiding for weeks. I need to be honest about something, she said, pushing her salad around her plate. So do I. I think I am falling for you, she said quickly, like ripping off a bandage. I know it is complicated and messy and probably wrong, but I cannot pretend anymore that these are just friendly lunches. They stopped being just friendly lunches 3 weeks ago, I replied. At least for me. She looked up, relief flooding her face. So what do? We stop pretending this is something it is not. That afternoon, I made a decision that would detonate everything. I called my wife. Change of plans for Sunday dinner, I said. I am bringing a date. What? What are you talking about? You have been so busy with your work, friend. I figured I would bring someone too. Make it even. You cannot be serious, dead serious. See you Sunday. I hung up before she could respond. Sunday afternoon arrived with all the tension of a powder keg waiting for a spark. I picked up her sister at 2 o'clock, both of us dressed nicely, but not formally, like a couple going to meet the family. Are you sure about this? She asked as we pulled into her parents' driveway. Are you? She took my hand. Let us do this. Walking into that house with her sister on my arm was like dropping a nuclear bomb on a tea party. Her mother answered the door, took one look at us together and froze completely. Hi, Mom, her sister said casually. Hope it is okay. I brought a guest. Her father appeared behind her mother, saw us, and his expression cycled through confusion, recognition, and something close to panic. Where is your wife? Her mother finally managed. She will be along, I said. She had some things to handle first. We walked into the living room where her brother was watching football with his girlfriend. They looked up, saw us together, and the girlfriend actually gasped out loud. Her brother said. Is there something we should know? Before anyone could answer, my wife's car pulled into the driveway. Through the window, we could see her sitting behind the wheel for a full minute, staring at the house like she was gathering courage to face a firing squad. When she finally walked through the front door, the silence in that room was deafening. She looked at me, looked at her sister, looked at our joined hands. Her face went through about 6 different emotions in 3 seconds. What is this? She whispered. Sunday dinner, I said calmly, just like always. You have been bringing dates to our marriage for months. I figured I would try it too. Her mother made a sound like she was choking. Her father put down his beer and stood up like he was preparing for a fight. Can someone please explain what the hell is going on? Her brother demanded. I looked around the room at all their shocked faces and realized I had everyone's complete attention. Perfect. Your daughter and sister, I said, nodding toward my wife, has been pretending to have an affair with a coworker for the past 6 weeks. All staged, all fake, designed to make me jealous so I would fight for her attention and prove my love through desperation. My wife's face went white as paper. Instead of playing along with her little drama, I continued, I decided to find someone who does not need to manufacture crises to feel valued, someone who appreciates honest communication, someone who does not think marriage is a game. I squeezed her sister's hand. Someone like her. The explosion was immediate and spectacular. You have been cheating on my daughter with my other daughter, her father roared. Nobody has been cheating, her sister said firmly. We have been having lunches and conversations, real ones, while she was busy playing pretend with her office boyfriend. It was not pretend, my wife shouted, then immediately realized what she just admitted. So, you were having an affair? Her mother said, voice deadly quiet. No. Yes. I mean, it was complicated. It was manipulation, I said, pure and simple. She wanted to make me jealous, make me beg, make me prove my worth. Instead, I proved that I do not chase women who play games. Her brother was staring at his sisters like he had never seen them before. You orchestrated a fake affair to manipulate your husband? Her friends told her it would work, I explained. Make the husband jealous. He will come crawling back, worship the ground she walks on. Except I do not crawl for anyone. And you decided the appropriate response was to actually start dating her sister? Her father demanded. I decided the appropriate response was to find someone who does not think love is a competition, I replied. Someone who does not need to test me constantly to feel secure. Someone who can have genuine conversations without ulterior motives. I looked directly at my wife. Everything I found in her sister that I had been missing in our marriage. The room erupted in overlapping arguments. Her parents yelling at both daughters. Her brother trying to mediate. My wife crying and screaming that this was not how it was supposed to work. Through it all, her sister sat calmly beside me, our hands still joined. I am not sorry, she announced during a brief lull in the shouting. I am not sorry for falling for a man who treats me like an adult instead of a prize to be won. I am not sorry for wanting real conversation instead of manufactured drama. And I am not sorry that he chose someone who appreciates him instead of someone who takes him for granted. She stood up, pulling me with her. We are leaving now. When you are all ready to have an adult conversation about this situation, you know where to find us. As we walked toward the door, my wife grabbed my arm. This is not over, she said desperately. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. I stopped and looked at her directly. You are right, this is not over. It has been over for weeks. You just did not realize it because you were too busy directing your little drama to notice your audience had left the theater. You cannot just throw away our marriage. I did not throw it away, you did. The minute you decided to play games, instead of having honest conversations about what was wrong, I gently removed her hand from my arm. The difference is I found something real while you were busy with fiction. We walked out of that house knowing there would be consequences, knowing there would be more drama, knowing her family would take time to process what had just happened. But we also walked out together, finally free to be honest about what we had found in each other. That went well, her sister said dryly as we got in the car. Better than I expected, actually. She laughed and the sound was perfect. No games, no manipulation, no hidden agendas, just genuine amusement at the chaos we just created. So what happens now, she asked. I started the car and looked at her directly. Now we stop sneaking around and start being honest about what this is. And what is this? Something worth fighting for? I said, something real. Behind us through the house windows, we could see the argument still raging in the living room. My wife gesticulating wildly, her parents looking shell-shocked, her brother trying to restore order. Let them argue. Let them process. Let them figure out how to deal with the consequences of months of manufactured drama. We had better things to do. The fallout was swift and brutal. By Monday morning, my phone was buzzing with angry voicemails from her friends. The same ones who had coached her through the fake affair were now furious that their brilliant plan had backfired. "You are a monster," one of them screamed into my voicemail. "She was just trying to get your attention by lying and manipulating me for weeks." I texted back, "Great strategy. My wife showed up at my office Tuesday afternoon, mascara streaked, looking like she had not slept. Everyone thinks I am a horrible person," she said, collapsing into the chair across from my desk. "Are not you?" I was trying to save our marriage by pretending to cheat on me. It was not real cheating. I leaned back in my chair. "So lying, manipulation, and emotional infidelity do not count as long as you do not sleep with him?" She started crying again. "I admit it was wrong. Okay, but what you did was worse. You actually fell for someone else. I found someone who does not play games. She is my sister. She is also an adult who makes her own decisions." Her phone rang. She glanced at it and her face went pale. "It is Mom. She wants to know if the family dinner thing was real or if we were just fighting. What are you going to tell her?" She stared at the phone until it stopped ringing. Wednesday brought the friends' intervention. 3 of them showed up at the coffee shop where her sister and I were having lunch. "This is sick," the ringleader announced loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. Breaking up a marriage to steal her sister. Her sister did not even look up from her soup. Nobody stole anything. He chose someone who does not need coaching on how to manipulate her husband. We were helping her get his attention. "You were helping her destroy her marriage," I said calmly. Mission accomplished. They stormed out after making a scene that had everyone staring. "Your friends are charming," her sister said sarcastically. "Former friends, apparently." Thursday night, my wife tried one last desperate play. She showed up at my apartment with divorce papers. "Sign these and you can have her," she said, throwing them on my kitchen counter. "But do not expect me to make it easy." I glanced at the papers. I already had my lawyer draw up my own version. Much more thorough. Her confidence cracked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I documented everything. The fake affair, the manipulation, the lies. Your lawyer is going to have a hard time painting me as the villain." She sank onto my couch. "How did this go so wrong? It was supposed to make you fight for me." "It did make me fight," I said. "Just not for you. For something better." The doorbell rang. Her sister stood outside with takeout bags and a bottle of wine. "Oh," she said, seeing my wife on the couch. "Should I come back later?" "No," I said, taking the bags. She was just leaving. My wife looked between us, seeing how natural and comfortable we were together. How easy it was. "You really love her, do not you?" she whispered. "I really do." She nodded slowly, like she was finally understanding something that had been right in front of her all along. "I never made it easy for you to love me, did I?" It was the first honest thing she had said in months. "No," I said gently. "You did not." 3 months later, the divorce was finalized on a Tuesday morning. Clean, simple, no contest. My ex-wife had finally accepted reality. Her sister and I moved in together the following weekend. Not rushing, not hiding, not apologizing, just 2 adults building something genuine. "Any regrets?" she asked, unpacking books in our living room. "About what? The way it all went down, the family drama, the public spectacle." I considered the question while assembling our new coffee table. She had 6 weeks to just talk to me honestly about what was bothering her. Instead, she chose manipulation and games. I have 0 regrets about refusing to play along. The family had eventually come around, mostly. Her parents were still awkward at gatherings, but they had stopped treating me like a homewrecker. Her brother actually thanked me one evening. "She is happier than I have seen her in years," he said, watching his sister laugh at something on TV. And honestly, my other sister needed to learn that actions have consequences. My ex-wife had moved across town, started therapy, and, according to mutual friends, was working on herself. Good for her. Everyone deserves the chance to grow. Her coworker, it turned out, had been completely innocent in the whole scheme, just a friendly guy who had been unknowingly cast in her drama without his consent. He had been horrified when he found out the truth. "The funniest part," her sister said one evening, "is that her plan actually worked perfectly. How do you figure? She wanted to show you what you could lose. She just did not realize she was showing you what you could gain instead." 6 months after the divorce, we got engaged. Nothing dramatic, nothing staged, just a quiet proposal on a Sunday morning over pancakes and coffee. "You know, people will always have opinions about how we got together," she said, admiring her ring. "Let them. We know the truth. The truth was simple. While one person was playing games, 2 other people found something real. While one person was manufacturing drama, 2 other people were building trust through honest communication." 1 year later, at our small wedding, her brother gave a speech that perfectly captured everything. "My brother-in-law taught us all an important lesson," he said, raising his glass. "He showed us that the right person will not need to test you, will not need to make you jealous, will not need to play games to feel valued. The right person will appreciate what you offer and give you the same in return." He looked directly at my ex-wife, who was sitting in the back row. She had asked to come, wanted to show support for her sister. It was mature of her. "And sometimes," he continued, "the right person was right there all along. You just needed to stop looking in the wrong direction to see them." That night, as we danced to our first song as husband and wife, I thought about how different my life had become. No more walking on eggshells. No more decoding hidden messages. No more wondering what game I was supposed to be playing. Just honest communication, genuine affection, and mutual respect. "Happy?" my wife asked, her head on my shoulder. "Completely," and I was. Because I had learned the most important lesson of all. The right woman does not make you fight for her attention. She gives it freely because she wants to. She does not test your love. She trusts it. She does not play games with your emotions. She values them. While my ex-wife was busy trying to make me jealous, she had accidentally introduced me to the woman I was meant to be with all along. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. And sometimes living well means refusing to participate in other people's drama and choosing something better instead. I chose better, and better chose me back. Our story has come to an end. If you have made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I have selected 2 other videos for you that I am sure you will enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I will be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.